A protein like pork goes really well with fruit, so I'm going to be making a Mexican-inspired pork and pineapple stew. Now, usually if you were cooking with secondary cuts like this pork neck, it would take about 2 hours to cook in a regular pot. Absolutely, you can do that, but I'm going to show you how fast it is to do under pressure. So I'm going to be cooking in the Cook For Me. I've been preheating my Cook For Me, so it's on the browning setting, and now we can start with the meat. So I'm just going to add a little bit of flour to a bowl. This is going to thicken up our sauce, and we'll add our pieces of pork neck into the flour. Now I'm going to make a large batch of this. Whenever I'm making a stew, I make extra because it freezes really well. So you'll need about 1.6 kilograms of pork neck. It's also called pork scotch when you go to the store. I love it because you can see there's a lot of fat through it, and when it cooks, it becomes so tender, a fantastic cut of meat. Now, because there's quite a lot of meat, we will need to do this in batches. So we'll start with 2 or 3 chunks. I've cut my pork neck into 5-centimetre cubes. We want about a tablespoon or so of oil to start with, and we'll just shake off the excess, and then in it goes to seal. While the first batch is browning, let's get on to our onions. So 1 large onion, and I'm just going to dice. I'm just going to cut that into chunks. Best thing about stews like this is nothing has to be perfectly chopped because it's going to cook for quite a long time, or if you're doing it in the pressure cooker, it's going to give you slow cooked results but done fast. And now for some garlic, we're going to just bruise that and then just roughly chop it. Now, I love the combination of the sweetness, so pineapple, and also some heat. So I'm going to add quite a lot of chilies here. I'm going to add 2 chilies. These are long chilies, and I love how they're slightly sweet too. So we're going to cut them in half as opposed to cutting them into small pieces. So by doing this, we're getting essentially the essence of the chili as opposed to a big hit of it. So we're just going to cut those in half. Seeds and all can go in. If you want it hotter, you can add a few more. So last ingredients to go in with this bundle is some coriander. Now I'll be using the coriander leaves for the garnish later on, but I do want to use the stalks and the roots. So much flavour. We'll just get that little bit off and then finally chop this. I've given this a really good wash because it can tend to be quite sandy, particularly at the roots and the stalks. Okay. Let's have a look at this pork. It's looking good. I'm just going to turn it in the oil and seal it on the other side. Okay, now we just wait. I'll take this out once it's golden brown, and we'll repeat that with the last 3 chunks of pork, and then we can go on to sealing our vegetables. Take the second batch of pork out, and now I'll add the onions and the coriander and chili, and this is going to cook for about 4 to 5 minutes. Again, we want to get some nice colour on it because colour is flavour when it comes to a stew. We're getting some colour on our onions, so let's add our spices. A combination of ground coriander and ground cumin, and then cumin seeds. They have a really nice nutty flavour, so that's why I like to add the whole and the ground, along with some pepper, a good hit of pepper for this. And just stir that in and start toasting off those spices. This bowl here is really hot, so it toasts quite quickly. And we can return our pork. So in it goes. You see the lovely colour. And all these juices in the bowl we want to add to our pot because that is also going to help create a lovely sauce. So juices can go in. This needs some salt, so a good pinch of salt over the pork. There's quite a lot of pork, so a good tablespoon. Another mix. Coating all that pork in the lovely onions, chilli and spices. I know this is going to be good because it already smells fantastic. Now for some acidity, some vinegar, and 2 cups of stock. When you're pressure cooking like this, you don't need as much liquid as you would do the traditional way. So 2 cups is plenty. And then for that pop of sweetness, our pineapples. So I'm just going to be using these frozen pineapple cubes. We want just a few handfuls. Lid goes on. We'll lock it and then we're going to cook it under pressure. So we're just going to set it to pressure cooking. I'm going to do this manually. So the best thing about this is you set it to 45 minutes. It has a timer and you can walk away, and as soon as you hear the alarm go off, it's ready. This is my kind of cooking. Done. So 45 minutes later, let's have a look. Oh, it looks fantastic. Oh, and just when you open that lid, just a waft of pineapple, pork and spice. This is what we're after. Look how much sauce we have there. And we've got a nice coating on that pork because we had that flour. Now this is what it's all about, that slow cooked meat done fast. See how this just falls apart. That is what we're after. So to plate this up, you've got to serve this with rice. Generous amount in the centre of our bowl. And for the pork, we just break it up. We'll pop that on top. See how moist it is? That's why I love to use scotch. It's just such a brilliant cut. And then pineapple and sauce can go straight over the top. It's got a lovely golden colour to it. Get some chilies too for a pop of colour. And a generous amount of that sauce over the top. Some garnishes. A little avocado for the top. This will give it some creaminess. Some onion. Again, a pop of colour. And good old coriander. We did reserve the coriander leaves for the top. And while we're at it with the garnishes, some lime. Pork and pineapple stew, Mexican style. It is delicious, done in 45 minutes. That's what I'm talking about.